Chi Farley was a flight attendant with United Airlines for more than 20 years. Her position came with benefits, a retirement plan, and job security. But when she left the airline industry to start her own salon and spa, she never could have predicted that her business would be upended by a global pandemic.
At first you're in shock, and then, you're like, what do I do? How am I going to do this? And I did not fear going into this business because I believed in myself.
Farley runs Flutterfab Boutique in suburban Arlington Heights, Illinois. The location focuses on facials, eyebrows, and eyelash extensions. She's been in the beauty industry since 2015, but recently opened this location in January of last year. Business was great until COVID-19 forced her to shut her doors in mid-March.
Once my store had to close, no money was coming in, not being able to pay my employees, not being able to pay off my debt or the interest rate, and then being behind on rent. I mean, it's scary. And then not having money to fall back on. I used my 401, I used my life savings.
Farley applied for the Small Business Coronavirus Relief Loan in early spring, but heard radio silence for months. She tried to get in contact with someone from the Small Business Administration for any kind of update, but had no luck getting through. While small businesses like Farley's waited for relief, large companies like CVS and Shake Shack received millions of dollars in aid meant for small businesses. Finally, in mid-May, Farley received word that she was approved for the loan and put it toward her past due bills. For a time, it helped her keep her business afloat as storefronts across Illinois were forced to remain closed. But this month, as many places reopen with new policies in place to prevent the spread of COVID-19, she still fears what the future holds.
We can't do aesthetic facials. We can't do the facials because they say that you need to have a mask. I think I'm going to lose a lot of clients. And not being able to do those services as far as facials, that's the percentage of people that I won't have.
Because of the close proximity that many cosmetic spa services require, Farley's heard from some clients that they will not be returning for the time being. In many parts of the country, facials and other similar services are still banned since both consumers and staff are required to wear masks during visits. Already, the losses Farley has endured from March to may have taken a heavy hit to her bottom line. The continued lower revenue moving forward as COVID looms in the air paints a widely uncertain picture for the business and the 6 other employees it supports.
The overhead, I would have to cut back on my employees. I would, before I close, I would have to do everything possible because that's the last thing I want to do is close my doors. Another hit, that loan is, I'm not going to be able to survive.
Salons and spas across the U.S. have been one of the hardest hit sectors during this pandemic. Massage therapists, facialists, and hairdressers are all part of the 41 million Americans that have filed for unemployment since COVID-19 shut down the country. Last month, unemployment was down slightly from 14 to 13%, according to a late May report by the U.S. Department of Labor. As people slowly start to get back to work and places reopen, many wonder what the new normal will look like, especially business owners eager to get back to it. Emma Graves and Molly Watman are part of this group. The pair are the co-owners of Brooklyn Herborium, a holistic-based skincare spa that started in 2011 and now has 2 locations in Brooklyn, New York. The business also closed back in March, but is slowly reopening one of its locations with limited hours and services.
We've had to cancel hundreds of appointments between the 2 locations, and that's been pretty hard on us.
That's Emma Graves, co-owner and a practicing esthetician. She says her spa, Brooklyn Herborium, has been able to bolster some of its revenue through the online sale of their own skincare products, but ultimately, in-person facial services are a big chunk of the business and bringing in new clientele.
When we don't make the appointments, it's not just that the person's not coming in and getting the service and, paying for the service and maybe buying their products before they leave and buying some beautiful towels or some chimes or some other things that are in our shop and some pantry goods before they're out. It's not just the loss of that particular one-off situation, but it's actually if our clients aren't coming in and seeing their esthetician or being able to talk to us and they're just ordering online, they're not getting the support that they need in order to know what products they're supposed to be buying. And so for me, I've been really focused on trying to get the education out there, telling people we have all of these articles that we've written, and trying to put together maybe very small online courses.
While online resources and video calls can help educate clients, Graves says there's no real substitution for the personalized service your small business can give through in-person conversations that build trust and relationships.
We have grown little by little by every single appointment, by every person who walks through our door that we're able to look at face-to-face and talk to. And trying to do that over a computer screen, we've done it a little bit, but it's not the same. For me, I love being hands-on. I love being face-to-face. And so I struggle with it maybe more than someone who grew up in Facebook with things like that or using that kind of media. But I think it's a great, useful tool that it's available and out there.
Graves is looking at the silver lining in this and hoping that the rapid adoption of technology can help clients in new ways moving forward.
I think all of the things that I've made during this time will be more useful. I think that I'm not the only one who's thinking that way. Even if it's not paying the bills, we just have to get through this time. And once it's back to a place where we are more able to do the things that we know are bread and butter, then we can go there.
Another practice that's been relying on technology to help make ends meet is Derma de Color, a dermatology practice in New York City that voluntarily decided to close for more than 2 months and has now reopened with a limited schedule.
This is all kind of touch and go, and we're learning as we go, but if we have to look at something underneath the mask, we'll have them take it off for a minute, and we'll look, do our exam, and then have them put it back on.
That's Dr. Carlos Charles, a dermatologist and the founder of Derma de Color.
We have been able to do quite a bit of teledermatology, so I've been seeing a lot of patients from home along with my staff. They help me quite a bit with that. So we do a lot of things. I mean, we've found a lot of people with signs of COVID through teledermatology. We've treated quite a few things, and people that needed a procedure of any sort, I would refer them to a couple of my colleagues that were open in the city.
Dr. Charles says that some services are still up in the air, such as the routine cosmetic procedures his practice offers.
We don't want to jeopardize either patients' health or my staff's health for things that we still think are not essential at this time. I think it's a little bit premature to do things that we don't need to be doing in the office. So we likely will just keep it limited to medical services until we feel like it's safe to bring people out for things that are more in the cosmetic realm.
So, will people be coming back anytime soon to get these cosmetic treatments?
I think there's going to be a decrease, no doubt, just like there's going to be a decrease in all types of services. But I also think that cosmetic treatments and services, patients find them to be important as well. So I think people will still do them once they feel comfortable doing them. But there will be a dip. It's an interesting time, and we're all doing our best to keep taking care of folks and keeping them safe all at the same time. So it's challenging, but we will get through this.
Show your support by continuing to shop at small businesses in your community instead of heading to large retailers. If you're not comfortable returning quite yet, you can always purchase a gift certificate for later use. To find out more about this topic and all of our guests, Chief Farley, Emma Graves, and Dr. Carlos Childs, visit viewpointsradio.org. You can learn more about Farley's business, Flutterfab Boutique in Arlington Heights, Illinois, at flutterfabboutique.com. Find out more about Emma Graves and Brooklyn Herborium at brooklynherborium.com. Lastly, check out Dr. Carlos Charles and Derma de Color in New York City at derma.dicolore.com. For more behind the scenes, visit Viewpoints Radio on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. This segment was written and produced by Amira Zaveri. I'm Gary Price. Coming up on Viewpoints.
I think it is one of the most valuable and underrated things that you can get into.
Reaping the many benefits of growing your own produce. Then,
there's so much fear and anxiety and uncertainty in the world today. Boy, who would have thought that 2020 would be quite this kind of a year?
Facing the emotional roller coaster that is this year. I'm Marty Peterson.
And I'm Gary Price. These stories in depth on your public affairs magazine, Viewpoints.
And that's Viewpoints for this week. Viewpoints is a production of MediaTrax Communications. Follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram to learn more about upcoming shows. And find a library of past programs on Apple Podcasts, Google Play, and Spotify. Plus, you'll always find previous segments and more information about our guests at viewpointsradio.org. Join us again next week for another edition of Viewpoints.